So in today's video we're looking at another pair of 1960 Triang Scalextric MM-C54 Lotus 16s with the G2 guide type. And what makes these two special is they're actually New Zealand cars. So there's a couple of things that point out that they're New Zealand cars. The biggest one is the size of the number, the paper decaled number that's stuck on. So the English cars, the G2 English cars and Australian cars use this bigger roundel, decal, whatever you want to call it, sticker. And the carby trumpets and the steering wheel / mirror assembly, they're different. So they appear kind of fatter. They have a noticeable divide line where the die is. They're just like fatter. This style of carby trumpet does turn up on the G3 Australian cars. So, and the steering wheel, the shape here, it's less defined. The rim, I can't really get it the right angle because of the angle of the steering wheel sitting in, but on the other side, the side that faces the driver, there's a raised, like the rim of the steering wheel, but it's much wider on these. It's not as fine and defined. So I do know that I did purchase these on eBay from a gentleman in New Zealand. So I am fairly certain that they are New Zealand cars. They were just body shells, didn't have heads. They had the numbers. Both had steering. I used the steering wheel assembly to fix an Australian car from this car because I thought I'd be able to replace it, but it's being the green, it's not so easy. But I put the wheels, I put motors, I put the heads on, but otherwise the carby trumpets, the numbers, they were on there when I bought it. We'll have a look at the inside. So I replaced all the insides. I used English motors, wiring looms, the guide. So I don't know if the terminals are correct for this actual car as it should have been when it was new. I have no idea. But that's the inside of the top. Now, I've replaced the head, like I said. But I haven't replaced any of the other components. So they have all original welds. So they're not welded as cleanly as English cars are. English cars seem to have like a nice round little hot iron that was used. These were just kind of used a soldering iron. So I haven't replaced that. I did replace the head. And I think I replaced, obviously it looks like I've replaced that shock. But this one's original. So all the components are welded on. And as with all Australia and New Zealand cars, you have 6 points for the body locators. So that will give you your biggest hint when you're looking on eBay at these cars, because you quite often won't be able to make out the writing on the underpan unless they've specifically mentioned it or made a really good picture. So we'll just finish up the video looking at the other side of the cars. And as I've stated, these are New Zealand cars, so they have a couple of little differences to the Australian cars, but otherwise the body shell is exactly the same from now on with Australian and New Zealand cars. I can't really show you. It doesn't show up, but this steering wheel assembly is different to the Australian ones. The Australian ones were exactly the same as the English one. The New Zealand cars seem to have different steering wheel and carby trumpets for the whole time of their manufacture, different colours and slightly different shape. So something to look out for in regards to the history of Scalextric in Australia and New Zealand.